My name is Zach Evans. I've had the pleasure of being the president of the Wicomico County Fair for the last couple years. But before I was the president, I served as a director for a number of years under Alan Gravener and a number of other presidents. But I met Alan, I guess it's been 6 or 7 years now, when I started working with the fair. And it was kind of a package deal, because not only did I get to work with Alan, but I got to work with two very beloved members of the community and of the Gravener family. Mrs. Iva Mae Gravener, she started her affiliation with the Wicomico Farm and Home Show back in the 60s. And she was up here with us until the very end. We miss her very much. We lost her in 2015, but she worked diligently until 2015 and was very, very committed to not only this event, but to Wicomico County and the surrounding community. So she won her first trophy on a pint of tomato juice. Alan had shared that with me. And this is Patty as well, Alan's sister. I apologize.
That's okay.
She was known by me personally and by a lot of folks within the organization for being very organized, very meticulous. Something an event like this desperately needs, and that's what makes things a huge success still to this day. So I always appreciated that she kind of instilled a culture of that, of being organized, being proactive, keeping good records, being very meticulous, because it was nice for this next generation when we stepped in and tried to help shoulder some of the weight. She was a premium chairman for years, which meant she wrote all the checks, hand wrote all the checks, and mailed out all the premium checks. How many premium checks did we mail last year, Alan?
Several hundred.
Several hundred checks.
Yeah.
So she would do that after the event wrapped up. She also originated the Wicomico Farm and Home Show cookbook, which we still sell to this day as a fundraiser for the fair. All the proceeds go directly to the fair, and the recipes were sourced from people all over the community who were involved in the Farm and Home Show for generations. She started the chicken and cornbread contest. I still haven't been able to crack, to break my way into being a judge of that, but that's a tough case to crack. I'm working on it still. And of course, she always worked on soliciting corporate sponsorships as well as getting trophy sponsors and anything else we needed to help with funding and resources for the fair. We were all lucky, those of us who knew Miss Iva Mae Gravener, to have the opportunity to work with us. And I'm personally thankful that I got the opportunity to work alongside her for those first few years when I was getting started with the Wicomico Farm and Home Show. Her love for this event and her passion for the mission that it served to the community are something that she instilled within this organization, and it holds true today. We're also here because Iva Mae's dearly beloved husband, Mr. Norman Gravener, was also, of course, dedicated to the fair. He started pretty much when Mom did, I assume, and he grew up in 4-H, and he grew up doing those types of things, showing in the event personally as well. He loved his wife dearly, and everybody knew that, and he supported her commitment to the Farm and Home Show, to the event that he spent those same 50 years dedicating his personal time to this event as well. It became a part of his children's life, it became a part of their family culture, and it became work that they all enjoyed doing. So we're thankful to still have Patty and Alan here to support the event. I'm glad that they could be here with us today for this dedication. Mr. Norman was a director for 15 years, and if you've never sat in one of our meetings, then you wouldn't know it from talking to him personally. But he liked to get stuff done. He'd be happy to sit there and talk with you for as long as you were willing to entertain it. But when it came to meeting time, we had a running joke. Mr. Norman was known in that meeting for getting a call to action. So he always made our motions. So he might not know it, but we all kind of waited on him sometimes to make that motion and wrap things up for us. And we still miss that dearly. He was a big collector of things. So he had a lot of collections, which kind of correlates to the Farm and Home Show and the great stuff you'll see indoors at the carriage house these years. And he always helped tremendously with the cake and the benefit auctions. Tonight, of course, will be our cake auction, and Saturday will be our benefit auction. All the proceeds go back to the Wicomico County Fair. The Farm and Home Show, the County Fair, and the community they served all miss the Graveners dearly. I know we would give anything to see at least I would, to see Miss Iva Mae riding around on her scooter. And to hear Mr. Norman make that motion one last time and keep us moving forward and get us back to business is something that we all wait for at the end of our meeting. So we would like to thank the Gravener family for their many years of dedication to this wonderful event, and also for their service to the community. We thought it would be a fitting dedication to have an ADA compliant, handicap accessible bridge. We've heard things in the past that there are more folks that would like to come out and enjoy the fair They just sometimes don't have an easy time getting around. So I'd like to thank Top City, of course, for their very generous donation. Gary with Top City is here representing them today. Thank you guys for everything you did to get this bridge together. I'd like to thank Wicomico County Recreation and Parks. I don't see those guys out here right now. There's a few representatives, but a lot of those boys are still working. They helped us get this bridge set. They helped us troubleshoot when we had a couple minor issues to make it happen today. But of course, we'd like to thank the Gravener family the most. So thank you guys for your commitment to this event. Thank you for allowing us to share so much of your parents' time with us in the community. And do you have any words that you would like to say? You don't have to. Don't feel obligated.
You said it all.
Okay. All right. Well, without further ado then, I would like to officially dedicate this bridge as the Iva May and Norman Gravener Memorial Bridge. As we said, it's ADA compliant. It makes it a lot easier for folks to get into the fairgrounds and get around. And we look to continue to find opportunities to make the fairgrounds and the venue kind of more accessible and more accommodating for all of the folks in the community. So thank you for being here with us.
What would your father say?
He'd say less than we're saying. He didn't say anything. Mother did all the talking.
He was a man of few words.
Yeah.
Okay, then what would Mother say?
She wouldn't stop talking. That she would be honored and thrilled, and as much work as they both put into this fair and farm and home show, that they appreciate it.
I just wanted to say that Top City was happy to provide this nice Amish-built bridge here for this event. It's great to do good stuff for the community and recognize people who have done things for the community. Please come out and see us at one of many displays we have out here. And again, it's a pleasure to be out here. Thank you. And Top City is pleased that we can make this event more accessible for the citizens of Wicomico County.
Good afternoon. Can I have your attention, please? My name is Bob Culver. I'm the County Executive of Wicomico County, and this afternoon we are gathered together to dedicate the Carriage House building in memory of Pete Richardson. Before I get started, I would like to introduce a few people. Pete's widow is Connie Richardson's here, and Dana, his daughter, Colin, a nephew. The other sisters were not able to make it. They're pretty far away, but I would like to thank you all for showing today. Thank you. With this group, there's not much I can say about Pete, but I will give you a few of the vital statistics, okay? Pete was born in 1949, the son of Vaughn and Mary Jane Richardson. He graduated from Bennett High School in 1968 and spent 40 years operating Pete Richardson Auction Sale. In addition to being a dedicated and lovely family man, Pete absolutely loved his community and was a lifelong advocate of the citizens of Wicomico County. Over the years, Pete generously provided donations to many county organizations. His legacy generosity continues through the Pete Richardson Charitable Fund. For his love of the county and the community, it is a fitting tribute and a great honor to name the Carriage House in memory of Pete Richardson. A bronze plaque has been ordered and will take the place of this one and be here about next month sometime. So, with the formal part being done, let me tell you how Pete came about with me with the Farm and Home Show. At the time it was Farm and Home Show. When I became executive, Pete was one of my first calls I had, wanted to let me know that he wanted to try to get the Farm and Home Show back together again. Pete also started talking about what we could do to make the equestrian center whole. They still had the leases and still make the county fair work. He told me he'd found a young man that would probably run it, Zach Evans over here. And he just needed the county to do a couple things and asked me would I be willing to do it. And I said, sure, Pete. You know, Pete always did call. I said, Pete Richardson here. You know, whenever you answer the phone, it's like, well, I know Pete. I know, you know, but he would always say that. But anyhow, he was like a dog with a bone because he found out he wanted this to go back on, and Pete would not let it go until we got it back on. The first year, between Zach's leadership, Pete's contributions, Pete's help, Pete's drive, we've got the Farm and Home Show changed into the county fair the second year, but became one of the biggest attractions in Wicomico County now. The first year we had about 10,000 people. Last 2 years we've had over 17,000 people showing up. We're expecting probably 20,000 this year, so it's a great asset to Wicomico County. So he brought back the farming aspect, he brought back the community aspect, and it means a lot to all of us that knew Pete and all of us in Wicomico County. But I would like to thank Zach for everything he has done for the last 3 years. He's led the county fair. And without saying, Steve Miller and his crew, Chuck Poole, for what they've done to the Carriage House building. when I came in, it was told that we were going to go ahead and bulldoze this. And looking at this, that just didn't seem possible. So we were able to put some money aside through the Parks and Recreation budget. We saved this building. We still have some things to do. We need to get a sprinkler system in here. We need to do the heating and air conditioning in here so it will become a year-round building for anything from proms to weddings, whatever. But it will forever be known as the Pete Richardson Carriage House. So. With that, if anybody has anything else they'd like to say?
I would like to say,
Yeah,
sure.
please.
Thank you so much. This means so much to my family and I. It's a little bit overwhelming. It's a beautiful building and a beautiful plaque, and this is the Wicomico County Fair is one of the things, many things that my father loved. So, you know, from the activities and the community involvement, the different competitions and everything coming together, and most of all, auctioneering and cake. So he absolutely loved the cake auction. That was the highlight, and you could tell by his figure and his, you know, passion about it as well. So again, thank you so much for all of your support. And he's a proud promoter of the Wicomico County Fair, and we just absolutely cannot thank you enough. This is very moving. So thank you for all of us. Thank you so much for everything. My dad was a big promoter of the Wicomico County Fair. It's breathtaking how much it's grown over these years, and we look forward to continuing it to grow and flourish. And one of the greatest things that he did love was auctioneering and cake, and the cake auction was the best portion of combining those two things. Thank you.
Very honored.
Very good.
Very honored. Thank
Everyone,
you.
can I have your attention, please? Let's get this show on the road. I'm Kathy Diekman, the Director of Membership Services for the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce, and thanks so much for coming out on this hot and humid day to kick off with the ribbon cutting, the opening of the Wicomico County Fair. We have a whole bunch of VIPs and elected officials to welcome. I'm going to turn that over to Zach so I don't screw it up as usual. But you all know that the Wicomico County Fair showcases the importance of agriculture on the Eastern Shore, but as well the culture, heritage, and traditions that have just made us who we are and who we are proud of. There's going to be so much to enjoy and entertain us this weekend. You know, all those cute and impressive farm animals that are strategically, petting barn is away from the big 5-foot chicken frying pan, so our kids don't get a cue about where that ends up. But also, we have the Chase the Chicken 5K tomorrow, the excavator competition, also strategically away from the beer garden, good thinking, cornhole tournament, cake auction, just to name a few. Please pick up one of these blue brochures. It's going to tell you all the good things that you're going to want to choose from, more than probably you can fit into this weekend. Boy, was I impressed to see so many of our Chamber of Commerce businesses that are sponsoring this event. Really too many to mention. I'm going to turn some of that over to Zach too, because all those hard workers providing financing behind the scenes to pull this big event off, and so many volunteers, countless hours that it must have taken to keep our fair tradition alive. Those are the unsung heroes that we also want to recognize. So I'm going to turn that over to our chair, Fair, Zach Evans.
Thank you, Kathy. I'd like to thank everybody, first and foremost, for making it out here this afternoon. As Kathy mentioned, it is hot, it is sticky, but it's also Friday at 2 in the afternoon, and I know it's difficult to pull yourself away and peel away from your normal responsibilities and your normal duties, but we appreciate you being here. So I appreciate everything Kathy had to say. And, you know, we're expanding on 82 years of tradition with the Wicomico Farm and Home Show. And when we kind of started as the Wicomico County Fair, we had a strategic partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. And since that time, it's blossomed into a direct partnership with Wicomico County Recreation and Parks and Tourism. And we couldn't be more thrilled with the way that Parks and Rec has stepped up this week. So before I dive into this, I'd like to give those guys a hand and a round of applause. You'll notice a lot of them aren't here with us now to hear your applause, but that's because I promise you they're still buttoning up last-minute items and making sure that things are going to go smooth this weekend and go on without a hitch. So they are some of the unsung heroes as well, and I want to make sure I give credit where it's due. So, of course, as Kathy mentioned, this event wouldn't have been able to grow and continue to expand the way it has in these last 4 years without dedicated community partners, via volunteers, but also via corporate sponsorships. So this year, when I looked at the total, we had 38 corporate sponsorships from locally owned businesses primarily, and I couldn't be more thrilled with that. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a few of our namesake sponsors, and I see representatives here from them today, so I thank you guys for coming out as well. Purdue has been in this deal with us since the beginning. 4 years ago, when we had the idea of really growing this event, Purdue stepped up. They recognized the importance of promoting agriculture, but also educating the community about agriculture and all the other ways that it ties into our daily lives, even if we don't recognize it here on the Lower Eastern Shore. So thank you, Purdue. Thank you, Toyota, who's recently come on as a presenting sponsor as well. Without their resources, we wouldn't be out here this afternoon. Big special thanks to Kubota Equipment, especially from myself personally. I wouldn't be able to get around the fairgrounds today if it wasn't for Mark Timmons and the folks over at Kubota. Burke Equipment here in Del Mar, they hooked us up. If you ever have any questions, go check out those guys. And also a special thanks to McIntyre Electric. So we have a county electrician who works diligently all week long, and then we also have the folks from McIntyre Electric who come out over the course of the week, and they help us get lights run and do other things that we wouldn't be able to do without those volunteers and those hands on deck. So thanks to McIntyre as well. And for anybody who was at the Memorial Bridge dedication, thank you again to the folks from Top City. We're continuing to think of ways to make this park more accessible, easier for the attendees to get around and find the events and the attractions they're looking for. So thanks again to Top City for that. Big thanks to all of our community partners. I know I've mentioned Wicomico County Recreation, Parks, and Tourism. I'd also like to thank University of Maryland Extension. I'd like to thank all the folks from UMES that'll be out here this weekend, from 4-H, and all of the respective clubs in Wicomico County and on the Lower Shore. They've really came on strong here in these last few years, and our numbers have almost doubled from what I understand with 4-H, so we're super excited about that. And of course, FFA at Parkside High School. Jerry and what he's done with those kids is incredible. They've also been huge supporters. Of course, the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Kathy, for being here to represent the Chamber, and thank you for all they do and helping us make these ends with these wonderful businesses. I recognize that we have a lot of local community leaders, a lot of state and local politicians, as well as centers of influence, and I'm going to borrow Kathy's list really quick here. I'd like to take a moment to thank everybody who took the time to come out today. So I know that we have Bill Reddish here on behalf of Representative Andy Harris with the U.S. Congress. Thank you for being here. State Senator Addie Eckert, of course, she's always the easy fine. Look for the queen. Delegate Johnny Motz is here. Where's he at? I saw him earlier. Thank you, Johnny. Carol Rose is here representing Delegate Mary Beth Carrozza. I know I saw Senator Mathias pop in. There we go. Thank you for being here. Of course, we appreciate the support at the state level, and the folks at the county level as well. They're usually involved in the planning process as we kick around new ideas and new additions. So first and foremost, thank you, County Executive Culver, for everything you've done to support the event. John Cannon, the president of the Wicomico County Council, is here, as well as some members from the County Council. We've got Joe Holloway and Mark Kilmer. I'd like to thank Dave Ryan with Salisbury Wicomico Economic Development, who's hiding back there in the shades. Bo McAllister, there you go. Thank you, Bo, for being here. Wicomico School Superintendent Donna Hanlon. Yay. I see Jamie Dykes, Wicomico State's Attorney. And of course, Mike Dunn from the Greater Salisbury Committee. I saw him floating around as well. So we went through the state, we went through the county. Let's talk about the city that we're in, right? Okay, so we have a great partnership with the county, we have a great partnership with the chamber, but we also have a tremendous amount of support from the city of Salisbury. They've got a lot of their own events going on, but they always lend a hand when they can, if it's resources or if it's advice on how to get through this weekend. So we appreciate that. We've got Salisbury City Council President, Ms. Jack Heath is with us. I'd also like to thank the Fruitland Community Center Foundation President, Alexis DeShield. She's here with us as well. And then, of course, I don't know if Bill's with us, but thank you to Bill Chambers from the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce for everything he's done. Again, helping me make some ends with all of these sponsors that we utilize. A shout out to Jeff Merritt from Minuteman for helping us print a lot of these materials this weekend. And before I go on to the sponsors, I promised I wouldn't make him hold a microphone, but I'd like to thank Steve Miller. Steve has been a huge supporter of this event. You might not realize it, but Steve gets phone calls from me at unmentionable hours, whether it be early or late. he gets text message from me about troubleshooting and issues that we might have. And he's always very proactive. He always lends his staff and his resources to solve any problems we have. So thank you guys for that. I've already touched on the sponsors, so I'd just like to thank, again, Wicomico County Recreation Parks and Tourism. I'd like to thank you guys for being out here and bearing the heat with us, listening to everything I have to say. And without further ado, I think we should all probably get together and take a pretty picture in front of all this artwork and these lovely livestock animals that the kids have brought down from the barn.
One.